What if I told you Zovaal is not the jailer? Is this man talking Zovaal lore right now? Is that really what we've gotten to? Now, I did a whole video where I remade the entire lore of Zovaal. He's saying, what if Zovaal is not the jailer? Let's see what our man Pyro has to say. Can this man fix Shadowlands lore and bring it into relevancy today for Dragonflight and everything else moving forward? We'll find out.
The Primus himself used his time to hone his tactical and strategic skills beyond mortal constraints. It is said that he once sought out an unknown ally who could show him the infinite time ways and allow him to observe the same battle over and over again to see how slight differences in strategy and troop deployment could change the outcome of a conflict. After aeons of such study, the Primus can instantly assess any situation and devise the likeliest path to victory.
Very interesting.
Today, we will talk about Zovaal and the jailer because they are not the same person. Zovaal is not the jailer.
Then
Zovaal is not the jailer.
Another
Real
death
jailer.
knight.
Cadence, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge.
Almost forgot about this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Death Knight of our Scourge. One thing I did always think is, Sire Denathrius was there, right? And it turns out he was a dreadlord. He was not, in fact, one of the original, primalists that was supposed to be there. How did he get there, and who did he replace? Right? Zovaal was running. Sire Denathrius was running an entire zone in the Shadowlands. He was running an entire area. What was there before him? What was supposed to be there in his place? Was it supposed to be Zovaal? Was Zovaal never supposed to be the jailer? That's what I was thinking when I was rewriting his lore in that video I did. I was like, why the hell? Who did he replace? How did he just show up there? This doesn't make any sense. Was that Zovaal's original position that he took? Maybe he talks a little bit about that.
Is the Primus. And Shadowlands completely dropped the ball on a story delivery that is showing you something very important.
I don't know.
Primus intentionally
Jailer
got
music.
himself captured, used domination runes to control Zovaal, so that he could use Zovaal as a literal puppet to figure out what would happen in the event that they tried to take power from Azeroth.
Shit. So he's saying the Primus was behind it all. That's interesting. Considering the Primus would be the one most capable of an uprising because he controlled the armies of the Shadowlands, that would be an interesting thought, because I would think if anyone was going to rebel, it'd be the one who controls the military. I mean, that goes to say for any country. That's what happens in most of the countries around the world. Usually when you see a rebellion against the leadership, it's usually a militaristic rebellion, and the militaristic leaders are the ones that take over. So it would make sense that the Primus would be the one who rebels and takes over power from Azeroth. Interesting.
If you look at the original concept art of the jailer, it doesn't look
Lions
like
are super
Zovaal,
profound.
does it? I mean, we looked at it bunches of times. It doesn't look like Zovaal. It looks like the Primus.
He's talking about the original art.
Almost identical, actually, and I'll show you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is that just like Anduin Wrynn was being dominated against his will, so was the jailer. And it was the Primus that was doing it to him. But the Primus is so fucking smart
He's
that
like
he
he's playing
did this
10D
without
chess.
exposing to all the other Eternal ones that it was him. If you look at the Titan Pantheon art, Sargeras, very similar to our friend the Primus here, who is the progenitor of domination magic,
Yeah.
has domination runes, on him, on his armor. And he's wearing these ribbons, these beautiful bindings
True.
that actually are very similar to what the Primus has. And his eyes are blue, actually very similar to Zovaal. Now, I know, like I said, you guys are probably going to think that this is crazy, and I don't think that this excuses the story delivery on things like Arthas, okay? I really don't.
No, I thought what he was talking about is like the original jailer. If you guys ever saw this, Blizzard essentially said that, oh, this was a mistake. They hadn't like fully fleshed out what the jailer was going to look like. But if you ever saw this cinematic, which was the original Shadowlands like preview cinematic, this guy right here who is the jailer looks a lot more like the Primus than he did current Zovaal that we ended up getting. This outline right here looks nothing like Zovaal. And Blizzard excused that by saying, oh, well, we hadn't really fleshed out what Zovaal was going to look like yet, and this was just kind of like a pre... He looks like the Primus. He looks like the Primus. He really does. And, I mean, he just had a picture up of the Primus right here. This and this look much more alike than the Jailer did. You know, the final version did. So maybe they had plans to actually make the Primus look at the eye color, too. You know, just the way the skinniness of the... Look how skinny his arms are. Look at the Primus's arms. Extremely skinny. Look at this. Same shit. Wearing gloves that are very thick. Look at this. Same shit. Now, the gloves aren't a one-to-one match. I would assume he had jailer, you know, armor, and then he had other armor that looked like this. But, I mean, if this was their original plan to make the Primus the jailer, that's what this fits in with. This is like one-to-one here. But, you know, maybe they changed it later on. He was known as a master tactician. This is true. Yeah.
Beautiful bindings that, and his eyes are blue, actually very similar to Zovaal. Now, I know, like I said, you guys are probably going to think that this is crazy, and I don't think that this excuses the story delivery on things like Arthas, okay? I really don't.
Yeah, no, what they did to the Arthas
I do not think
was
the
complete
Primus
garbage
works for
and not
Sargeras.
savable.
No. I think the Primus works. I think the Primus is an ordered result of Titan influence. I think the Titans ordered the Shadowlands. They seem incredibly ordered for what they are. Not that death isn't orderly, but I think at least to some degree, Amin Thule.
It's got the FSU tree.
We have to like be careful with like how deep we get into that, because this is like the part about Zovaal being. I'm telling you guys, I'm like almost entirely convinced that the Primus intentionally, because he's a master tactician. I think he intentionally got himself captured. I think that he used.
I mean, yeah, if you're captured, right? If you're a prisoner. Can you be the one? You're like the least likely suspect at that point. That's a good way to make yourself not a suspect. Is to be like, well, I was in prison this entire battle, so I couldn't have been part of it. I couldn't have been the reason for it. Yeah, he's a masturbator too. Yes, exactly. He was essentially, you know, imprisoned the entire time all this shit was going down. Nobody knew how he got captured. He is the leader of the military. How the fuck did he ever get captured in the first place? Maldraxxus is probably one of the most well-guarded, well-fortified places in the entire Shadowlands, if not the entire, like, you know, on all the realms, right? Literally, his army is made up of the best warriors and most, you know, craziest fighters that have ever lived and died from Azeroth. What the hell? How did he ever get captured in the first place? That makes no sense. And yet, he was captured for the entirety of the fight. And like he just said early on, Pyro said, you know, he's a master tactician, or he can watch the same battle over and over repeatedly and learn from it and, you know, tweak his strategy different ways. Maybe he did that. Maybe he knew this would be the best way to hide his, you know, to take cover for what was going on.
I think that within the Maw itself,
got to be close to make
he
sure
was
domination
basically
magic stays strong.
disguised as being a prisoner, when in truth, he was the one controlling. I know some of you are not going to like this. He was the one controlling Zovaal. And the imagery that they provide with Zovaal, like literally falling down as like a puppet kind of thing, and like the power fading from his eyes. Like, the Primus is the progenitor of domination magic. How the Primus got captured is never explained.
Yeah, I was just saying that.
And Shinzai puts it best when they said, The greatest trick of the devil was making you believe he doesn't exist. Did
Damn.
Zovaal have domination runes on him too? Yeah, they were etched onto his skin.
Yeah, they were etched into his skin.
What I actually believe is that the Primus was the one controlling Zovaal
That's very possible.
and actually made him do that. Just like it was supposed that Zovaal was the one controlling, the Lich King and making him do that. Zovaal was also a puppet.
Very interesting that he mentions the whole puppet thing, and then he did look like a puppet after we killed him, didn't he? Kind of the way he was just hunched over, like a puppet whose strings had been cut. And yes, the domination runes were in fact like inscribed into his skin, like into his body completely. Like even after his skin faded away, the domination runes were still there, inscribed into him. So that's freaking crazy. And who's the one who does domination magic? Yeah, the jailer. I mean the
But
Primus.
what I think is fucking brilliant about it is essentially the Primus was able to
a big one on his head,
what
yeah.
is effectively a simulation without exposing himself or exposing anything that he will want to do. It's actually gigabrain as fuck. And I know that the evidence is not right here in front of you, so we'll get to that point. I know I'm like really all over the place. Well, then why would Primus want souls to enter the Maw? Because what the
build
Primus
his
was
army?
trying to do is what Zovaal was doing. The Primus, what I'm saying is that the Primus was trying to use the power of Azeroth. That it wasn't Zovaal. Wasn't it also speculated that Zovaal wasn't meant to be the main antagonist of Shadowlands? Let me show you something.
Yeah, when I showed you guys
On the
that
page
at
for
the original
Zovaal-
preview.
Exists, I believe, his concept art. Now,
Yeah.
remember how much heat I took for this?
The
This
outline that I showed you guys, this was what he was supposed to look like. Who does that look like, man? Looks like the freaking Primus.
says the jailer, right? This clearly
Why are
says
we watching
the jailer.
Shadowlands crap? Because we're trying to relate it to
Wait
current lore.
1 second.
Yeah, they look exactly alike.
Wait a second here.
Even
in the way that he's
Even the claws and the fingers, everything. Like this is him. Look at the toes. This is him.
standing, where his hands are.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And
where
if
his
you
hands
look
are.
closely at the Primus in the game, he has chains underneath his cloak. They took these weird big these elemental things, death elemental, wow, and they repurposed it for this death elemental thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's right. We got it in the mount. This is the mythic mount.
But
Mythic
what I'm
plus
saying
seasonal
is
mount.
that the leaked art of the
Same with
jailer is not leaked art of Zovaal.
It's leaked art of the Primus. He's right.
It's leaked art of the Primus. And when I first saw this, I thought,
Yeah.
oh, so they were gonna do this, but they didn't. They were gonna pull this off.
Look, I think he's definitely right here. What I'm worried about is that all this speculation was true at one point, and then Blizzard pivoted from it and didn't end up doing it, and that's why we got what we got, and that's why the story seems so like janked and unfinished. That's probably what I think happened here. That this was supposed to be the original story, and then they changed it all. Why they changed it, I have no idea. Somebody made a bad call.
But they changed their mind. But then, the more that I thought about it,
He
the
looks
more I
like the
realized
Ice King
that
from
doesn't
Adventure
have to
Time.
be
He
the
does.
case. Guys, we let the Primus forge a new crown of domination.
Shit. The Crown of Wills. The Crown of Wills. What is that even doing right now? What's the point of it? Is it supposed to control the Scourge?
In the Shadowlands. The Primus has control of the Shadowlands. The Crown of
Primus
Will.
isn't really crown- no.
The Crown of Wills. It's a disguise for what it really is.
Another Helm of Domination.
It's a crown of light.
Blasphemy.
It's a mind control device. That's all this is. It's a new brainwashing tool. This is why I say the Primus is in cahoots with the Titans. Because this is what they wanted. This is what the ultimate form of their order in the Shadowlands is.
Yeah.
Remember, order exists in different forms. Death is one form. Death is one form. So check this out. The jailer dismantled because remember, Zovaal was the arbiter. So the jailer makes Zovaal look like he goes crazy, tries to take the fucking power of the Eternal Ones to unlock the fucking truth of the First Ones, whatever those are, which I think can be altered to actually reflect Azeroth and Argus if they want to. But I'm going to leave that alone for now. Made Zovaal look like the bad guy, got rid of the Arbiter, replaced the Arbiter, and then got to fucking build the crown
That's on the
that's going to
Arbiter's
be
head.
used
Yeah.
for every soul that enters the Shadowlands going forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the deal. The dreadlords, they don't work for Zovaal. They work for Denathrius. And Denathrius is still out there, technically, and so are the dreadlords. In fact, Lothraxion, the light dreadlord, had dialogue removed from the game after the fall of Sargeras. He actually had a quote upon the in the bridge of the Vindicar where he says, just because the Legion has Sargeras has been defeated does not mean that all the demons in the universe will give up so easily. And then he like clenches his fist and he says, not yet at least. And then we have these dreadlord journals talking about how the dreadlords intentionally infiltrated the light. You're a gigabrain to finally see it? Well, let me say this. Shinzai sees a lot, just as much of this as I do. So I would like to not take fucking credit for something that this was brought to my attention. The jailer Zovaal is not the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up.
It's
so fucked up. This guy is the victim of a power manipulating him. And he didn't even know it.
Here's my thing. Like, I always thought Zovaal, you know, he says that he was like the original arbiter or whatever. He was like, I always thought that whole process was unnatural. Like, why does the arbiter even exist? And that's why part of like my original theory, what I thought was going on in the Shadowlands, was that Sire Denathrius is a dreadlord. He was acting as one of the, you know, whatever they called him, one of the overseers of a zone in the Shadowlands. He was like the overseer, right, of Valdrakken? Not Valdrakken. What the hell am I talking about? That's the freaking city we go to now. He was the overseer of the freaking Revendreth. Yes, Revendreth, right? Which is all vampire-y and all that shit. And yeah, sure, he fit in fine. But to me, if you look at Zovaal, I mean, look at him as a thing. Look at his pointy-ass teeth and his pointy-ass ears and his pale-ass skin. What does Zovaal look like to you? Whenever I looked at Zovaal's model, I was like, dude, this guy looks like a vampire. Guy literally looks like a freaking vampire. That's why I thought like Zovaal was originally supposed to be the overseer of Revendreth. He was the one there, and somehow he was like brainwashed into forgetting that part of his assignment. Sire Denathrius came over there and took over his zone and just, you know, sat in there and chilled and made everyone believe that this arbiter thing was supposed to happen. And that all seemed like I said, unnatural to me. Like, I felt like the souls could just go wherever they needed to go. But then they created this whole, like, filtration system with the arbiter and everything. And that all that shit happened. But to me, Zovaal was the original Revendreth guy. He was the Revendreth guy who got replaced by Sire Denathrius, and it kicked off all this other shit. I don't know. But maybe this theory holds true, that instead he was the original arbiter. I was hoping it wasn't.
He didn't know it. Only was he given his memory and own free will back in the final fucking moments. He didn't even know. And no one else knew that the Primus was controlling him from within the maw. This guy was pulling the strings,
Yeah, it's
disguised
possible.
as a prisoner. That's crazy. Yeah, he's the one pulling the chains, pulling shit in. He literally, he's the puppet pulling. It's funny because he's like.
I know he was the
They
original
make
arbiter.
it look like.
I was thinking that was a
So
lie that was
fucked,
told to us.
Oh yeah, he got dominated by his own magic. No, bro, he's using it to dominate Zovaal. He's the one doing it. He works. Yeah, I believe he does work for the Titan Pantheon. I really do. I do think he does. I think he's like a fucking master tactician that basically ran a fucking sim in the Shadowlands to figure out the result of a conflict. And like I said, now he has he has control. And look at this. I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to be like too on the nose, but like I'm not saying that they're the same person, so please don't take it that way, but like, you know, I could see these two fucking goons working together. The Primus embodies the 5 traits of the ideal Maldraxi soldier, virtues he instilled into the 5 houses. And
Look, real quick, about Zovaal being the original arbiter, right? The reason why I didn't believe that is because if you look at Zovaal's model, right, and like when he was an arbiter, what was in his chest, right? There was that fucking orb that he eventually gets back and puts back in his chest. But what is it about his chest that seems weird? Right? If you look at all the other siblings, they look like typical humanoids. That chest opening doesn't look natural. Look at that chest opening. That shit literally looks like somebody fucking ripped his chest open and then put metal in there to hold it open, to keep it there. Right? So when I looked at this chest opening, I was like, that's not natural. That doesn't look right. Something looks off about that. And then if we look at the cinematic where Zovaal is talking to the person who imprisoned him, something is missing. Something is missing. Where's the gaping hole in his chest? Where's the gaping hole in his chest? If it's a natural part of him, if he was the original arbiter, why is it in this cinematic he doesn't have a massive hole in his chest? Because it hadn't been done to him yet. Because he hadn't become the arbiter yet. He was the original Revendreth boy. His position was taken by Sire Denathrius. He was imprisoned. And then our boy, Mr. Maldraxian, rune writer and all that shit, ripped his chest open, put this ball in it, and said, okay, you are the new guy that determines where souls go. I've got a helm of domination. I got domination magic inscribed all over you. I'm going to control your ass while you're doing that. And, I'll control the Shadowlands in that way. And eventually, he's also got the domination magic all over his armor and all that shit. Like, eventually, he switched up the plan and created the new arbiter and everything like that. But this whole chest opening thing and how it didn't exist before, I always thought that was weird. If he was the original arbiter, that hole should have been there the entire time. Just saying. Just saying.
Ambition, might, insight, guile, and relentlessness. In addition to his military might, he's known as a legendary weaponsmith and the best.
Saying it was an internal thing that had been ripped out.
He's the creator of the Maldraxi.
Maybe it was an original thing that was internal and they ripped it open, ripped it out. Maybe.
Rune magic,
possible,
which serves to manipulate necromantic energy, and its more powerful counterpart, domination, which we'll get into, which he made for the purpose of imprisoning his traitorous brother, Zovaal the Jailer. I would like to throw out there that if this guy's in cahoots with the Titans and he created domination magic would be one of the best things that the Titans could use to assert order, don't you think? Because domination is control.
Yeah,
and
true.
We now know, thanks to Dragonflight, that
the Titans love control.
Control is order for the Titans.
Yeah.
That's how they see it. Order to the Titans is control. So domination is very important. When you look at the runes upon Sargeras, the old art, when I say that he has domination runes on him, that freaks me out.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very possible what you're saying.
There's a reason for that. Because I think the Titans have the power of domination. They have it. And I think that might actually be the root of what their order magic really is. But they're also using the light, which is what freaks me the fuck out. And then I found this. Oh, shit. And then I found this. Remember what I was telling you guys earlier about the Primus?
Raglan.
And about how he was the true jailer and was using Zovaal to figure out whether or not it was viable for him to steal the power of Azeroth? Well, guess what?
The Titans sent a constellar. The Titans sent a fucking constellar into the Shadowlands to check up on what was happening. They wanted to know the status of what was going on in the Shadowlands. Why? Because the Primus was the one performing the simulation that the Titans were going to learn from.
Wow.
Check this out. I think the Titans wanted the Primus to do this so that they could figure out better if what they were going to do with the dream would work.
What's up, Ken?
Their idea is that they would build a perfect world in the dream and then put it into reality. That's how this works. And when they fail, it creates layers that build on top of each other, which probably is the reason where the Black Empire came from, if I'm fucking honest with you.
What the hell?
But there's a possibility that that's not where it came from. But they're basically doing simulations over and over to try to figure out how they can become successful. The Titans do this shit all the fucking...
They sent Ragellon to watch over this simulation because that's what he is. Ragellon is a dominated constellar. He is the 10th and penultimate balls in the Sepulchre of the First Ones. Drawn to observe the faithful events unfolding within the Sepulchre of the First Ones, Ragellon succumbed to the Jailer's domination. Now this constellar turns its cosmic power against... So yeah, okay. So in his theory, essentially, it's not the Jailer's domination. It's the Primus's domination, which is also the Titans' domination. So this guy was sent here to watch over and see what the Titans were up to. Interesting. Yeah, he is wearing domination armor and all that. That could fit. That could fit his theory. Yeah. Sure.
Fucking time. And when you look at this guy, Ragellon is a dominated constellar and the final boss of the Sepulchre of the First Ones, which I didn't even fucking know. He succumbs to the Jailer's domination. But again, if the Jailer's domination is an act of an underlying puppet master, which is the Primus, then that means that he was dominated at the hand of the Primus in order to send information from what was happening inside of the Sepulchre of the First Ones to the Titans. They were supposed to know. The Primus is a link between the Titans and so how do I say this? Pardon me. The Constellar is a link between the Primus and the Titans. It's how they were communicating with one another. If you guys think that the Titans don't know what happened in the Shadowlands because they're on the seat of the Pantheon, I'm telling you right now, I think that they do know.
Yeah, they probably knew.
I didn't know about this prototype Pantheon, so this is interesting. So this is from Zareth Mortis. The first iteration of the Immortal Council was not put into use because their ideals were too extreme. With the enemy at the gate, Lehuvim has little choice but to reactivate these dangerous prototypes. They sure look like light to me.
Yeah,
they sure look like light to me. They do look
light-bound in a way.
So it's funny that their ideals were too extreme because this here, man, that sure kind of looks like what Pelagos looks like now, don't you think? These things don't look too far off of Pelagos. I'm being honest with you.
They do look like light-bound creatures. So the idea
that, light being a little bit more extreme form of order, I'm just going to throw out there that that's alarming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see what he's saying.
That's kind of alarming. It's just another form of order, another form of control, and this is what the Titans want. The Primus architected this to occur. The Primus architected that Pelagos would receive of the Crown of Wills. It's completely intentional. That's what I believe anyway. If the Jailer can potentially, and we're going to get to this, if the Jailer was potentially being actually controlled by the fucking Primus, then Sargeras is the same situation. Sargeras will be dominated and controlled by fucking Amenthul, who the Primus probably learned his tactics from, because it says that the Primus met with a being in the time ways, and that's how he learned to predict and foresee battles. Look at this. I mean, just look at the imagery. It looks like he's being controlled, doesn't it? He doesn't even look different from, like, if we put this Titan Pantheon, wow. If we put a picture, I'm getting so excited, dude. This is great. If we put a picture of this, next to fucking Anduin being dominated, I don't know if I want to type that in. So in this form, I'm sorry, but I kind of failed to see the difference. It's the same picture.
Yeah.
That's art, not accurate. Are you fucking shitting me?
No, it's pretty
Even if I can
accurate.
find one that's not fan art, it doesn't really matter.
It's pretty accurate.
Anduin Rin Dark. Why is
Hey,
there a
it's right
backslash?
there. It's right there.
Here, we'll just use the
Yeah.
fucking actual model. It almost looks even worse.
Look, one thing about domination magic that seems to fit the bill often, yes, is the ruins and everything else. But have you ever noticed that there's a lot of skulls on the armor when someone's being dominated? I mean, if we look at the belt that, our boy originally wore, here, Sargeras, it's just a regular Titan-looking belt. Do you ever notice what's on the belt in the cinematic where Sargeras is attempting to do whatever he's going to do to Azeroth? What's on his belt? It's a massive skull. There's a massive skull there. With the diamond, little mind control symbol right there. But I mean, look at that belt. I always thought that every time I looked at it. Yes, I know on his shoulder he does have a skull already there. Yes, I see it. He's got one there. But I feel like Domination got stronger and stronger with him. And eventually he got to this point where he's got the full belt and everything. Look at this. I mean, his armor gradually transformed into more Scully boy looking. It's an interesting observation. The fact that skulls just happen to show up every time domination magic is used, and there's now a massive skull on his belt. I'm just saying, maybe he was slightly dominated here, more dominated later on. That's possible.
Yeah. I mean, I fail to see a big difference here.
Yeah, because demons don't care about skulls and shit.
And look, Zovaal the Jailer. Let's look at this motherfucker.
Well, I mean, Anduin didn't... His armor just transformed into
I'm
Scully
not so sure that this guy wasn't being dominated as well. Once again. By the fucking Primus. And we're going to get into that. And I think that there is and it's not my original idea. I would definitely say that I heard all this from Shinzai in my Discord. But there is a I think a very solid theory that the Jailer was actually being controlled by the Primus. And that the Primus was doing a test run of taking Azeroth's power and is working in tandem with Aman'Thul to wrest control of creation. The fucking Primus is the bad guy. The Primus is the actual bad guy of the Shadowlands, which is fucking nuts because I don't know. I never
This is
saw
great,
that.
but
I did not understand that.
I
When I
feel
had
like
this
if this-
explained to me and kind of shown to me, I was like,
I feel like if this was the original plan, it got changed.
this is
sadly.
fucking crazy. Zovaal has runes literally tattooed on his fucking skin.
Yeah, he
This
does.
guy is definitely and like what we're told this. The
That's deep
Primus
domination.
is a master tactician weaponsmith who specializes in runes. So you're telling me that he actually let the Jailer weaponize his own bonds and get the Primus. No one knew how the Primus even got captured. He disappeared.
Right.
It's because the Primus fucking put himself on the Maw on purpose so that he could control Zovaal from within the Maw. And nobody would know that it was him. All the while passing like he was the fucking victim. And then, like I said at the end, he instates a new arbiter who has a new crown of wills that can dominate with light, I bet.
Yep.
This is fucking terrifying. Their plans have fully come to fruition.
It worked.
We're like
If that was his
literally on the
plan.
precipice of the Titans taking over the fucking universe. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, we're there. It's actually happening. And what they're doing in the story for the next 3 expansions is exactly this. Trust me. It's going to express exactly the things we've been talking about. What the Black Empire was and what
Imagine Chris Metzen tries to fix Shadowlands lore. Jesus Christ. What an undertaking.
can happen to them. Because what the Titans are telling us is absolutely a lie.
Gonna go watch some actual Awakening. Oh, Jesus.
The truth between the light and the void, and how the light is just spreading the void, and their ideals, though they allegedly clash, kind of come together to show you what they might truly be in essence. Okay, one thing to consider, and the possibility that that Azeroth is in fact something completely different from the Titans, if not the most powerful or progenitor to the Titans themselves, and will finally, hopefully, be waking up, which they are teasing is going to lead into what they're describing as the next like 20 or 30 years of Warcraft storytelling. If they wake Azeroth up and like break down the barriers of reality and show us what is really around us and reveal to us what the Titans really did, if we have a way to stop the Titans, then maybe that's like the birth of a new story for us to go out and explore the other maybe worlds or realms that they have completely taken over. Because I'm telling you right now, it's not just the ones that we've seen. And I'm
It gets
sure
better.
I can't play the
He goes
Emerald
deeper.
Dream yet, but I'm sure that when I get in there, that I'm just gonna find more evidence to support everything that we've been going over today. Because at this point, the way that they've connected it is actually giga fucking brain, and I hate to admit it because Shadowlands sucked ballsack in its delivery.
It did.
The Primus controlling Zovaal under the guise of being a prisoner is fucking giga brain. It is.
That would be
fucking
cool.
giga
Look, it
brain.
would be cool if that's the
Like,
case.
It's crazy if you deliver it properly.
Must not be.
You have betrayed your duty as a
So I want to throw this out here. What's happening right now is Zovaal is seeing the memories of what happened.
Yeah.
I think he's just now understanding, like coming to the realization to a degree that like he was being influenced by something.
We might ally with Iridikron against the Titans. But Iridikron's kind of fucked up. I'm not sure if we will.
Being freed from domination.
You have betrayed your duty as arbiter and shall be bound forevermore. Your madness has threatened the cycle of life and death entire.
You could have sought another way, brother. Imagine what we could have accomplished together.
See, this is like completely different knowing that Sire Denathrius is not actually one of them. He's in fact a dreadlord. That's what blows my mind. And that's why I always listen to this part of it so often. Is like, what was he trying to accomplish? What was their plan? He's not like the rest of them. He's not his original sibling. So what's going on? And who did he replace? What was the original sire? Who was he? Because he is one of the prototypes. He is in the prototype pantheon. There is a Sire Denathrius model. But that doesn't make sense because why would a dreadlord be here? Why would there be a model of a dreadlord? He clearly killed the original Sire Denathrius and took his place, maybe? But why is he here? I think this is like such an unanswered question. Who was the original Sire Denathrius? What was he like? How did he just get killed and replaced like this? How did a dreadlord just take his spot? There wouldn't be a prototype of a dreadlord. That doesn't make sense. They don't come from here. Why is nobody thinking about this?
Why, Zovaal? What drove you to this?
You can hear his chains like clattering and shit. Dude, and the runes are gone. Dude, the Primus is definitely the fucking bad guy. Holy fucking shit.
Why, Zovaal?
Yeah, this is a Primus
What
talking.
drove you to this end?
The Primus is just the eternal Amanthul.
Preserve that which is doomed. A cosmos divided will not survive. What is to come?
Domination runes etched all over his body.
His heart ripped out. Yeah, I kind of take back what I said then. I mean, I guess they ripped out his heart, essentially. He probably wasn't the original sire. It's probably the fact that his heart got ripped out. I mean, yeah, he was the original arbiter.
By the way, this rune on his bicep
Yeah.
right here, Sargeras has this on his armor. Sargeras has this domination rune on his armor in that Titan art. See that rune right there? On his glove?
Yeah, it is the same. It's a
same
one-to-one.
one.
It's the same exact one.
It's definitely
is.
domination runes. It's absolutely domination runes in my opinion. They fucking dominated Sargeras and made him do things that he didn't even want to fucking do. And framed his ass for it. And the Primus did the same thing to Zovaal. The same fucking thing. So Zovaal knows some truth that we are otherwise unaware of, correct? The fact that Zovaal does use First One stuff to try to harness the power of Azeroth to rewrite reality is pretty fascinating, though. I wonder if that actually, and the fact that we can interact with that teleporter thing, I wonder if, if that illustrates that perhaps there is a connection between Azeroth and her champions and the First Ones. So maybe there is a way to canonize the first ones and not have it be actual, like, just absolute dog shit.
Annoying, yeah.
Then I get linked the Machine of Origination. The Machine of Origination is a massive device created by the mysterious First Ones and interred within their sepulchre in the realm of Zareth Mortis in the Shadowlands. The jailer Zovaal reactivated it, using the world soul of Azeroth as a power source, and attempted to make reality into one that served him, so it could stand against what he saw as a coming threat. However, the Maw-walkers from Azeroth were able to defeat the jailer on the verge of his great victory, shutting down the Machine of Origination.
What
once
is the
again.
coming threat?
The Machine of Origination? I said it's called the
What's up,
Machine of
Gacha?
Origination? Titans aren't the only ones who can re-originate the
Re-origination, yeah, that's
Universe. How
exactly
do you
what I
use the
thought.
power of Azeroth from
Re-origination
there?
chamber.
So, connecting Torghast through the
Thank you,
Breach
Rhea.
of Realms to the top of Icecrown Citadel, and channeling power up the core of it from the Forge of Souls beneath it.
Yeah,
They drew upon the power of Azeroth to try to rewrite reality.
right.
The Forge of Souls is fucking fascinating, and the more that you go up into Icecrown and think about the Lich King and look at it, the more that it becomes apparent that they obviously had some additional information that is a little bit inexplicable as far as things like the Forge of Souls and like how it interacts with Azeroth. Like, how the fuck did they build that machinery? Where did they learn that from? So to tie it to the Primus working with the Titans, manipulating Zovaal, like, I kind of feel like that connects. He is the creator of Maldraxi rune magic, which serves to manipulate necromantic energy, and its more powerful counterpart, Domination, which he made for the purpose of imprisoning his traitorous brother, Zovaal the Jailer. So if he created it, the Titans must have learned it from him, if it's what they're using. Unless it's different in essence, but conceptually the same in terms of order.
So he taught the Titans, not
I
the
said
Titans
it alters
taught him.
the victim's thoughts so powerfully, and this is Domination, that it interferes with their sense of self.
Yeah,
This is exactly what happens to things ordered by the Titans.
that's why Anduin has lost his damn mind, essentially. Right? He couldn't even find himself at some points. He was just so lost in the domination.
expressing this in Dragonflight. Thank you, Elax. Shinzai says the fact that the Primus was taught the art of war by someone with access to the time ways, who I straight up think is Aman'Thul. Skiz says Aman'Thul. I do kind of like that. It's a heavy theme of symmetry between the tiers. Even if this is all nonsense, the Keepers often echo their Pantheon Masters, and etc. One more thing.
Yeah.
When we talked about gods, I looked up the definition of gods. It's either the omnipotent ones, the creators of everything, or it is the ones that govern specifics of reality. Seems to me the Titans are just a governing body of the Order domain and not the one above all, but they have asserted themselves as such. Shinzai starts to dig a little deeper. Here we go. Like, literally, the Primus is the guy from the original Jailer artwork. That was the route that made sense. He should have been the one pulling the strings. Instead, they put some fucking Wrath of the Lich King blue plate on Zovaal and gave us him as the end boss. I'm still wondering who betrayed Argus. And we come back to that, I think. Has a video about that. Pulls up the Art of the Jailer. Wait a second, though. We compared this earlier. He looks like the Primus. Wait a sec. Wait a second. Why? Because the Primus is the fucking Jailer. Because he is the Jailer.
It makes sense.
It
He,
just
he had his
is
chains
the
and everything
Primus.
like
The
that.
Primus himself used his time to hone his tactical and strategic skills beyond mortal constraints. It is said that he once sought out an unknown ally who could show him the infinite time ways and allow him to observe the same battle over and over to see how slight differences in strategy and troop deployment could change the outcome of a conflict. After aeons of such study, the Primus can instantly assess any situation
Primus equals
and
Prime equals
devise the
first one.
likeliest
Yeah,
path
you're
to
welcome.
victory. It's
Yeah.
exactly, it's him.
Primus does sound Titanish. I mean, look at these badges, right? Now, if you take these and you put them in gold, you goldify them. This is what they look like, right? What are these like two banners of gold runes around his neck kind of look like? They do kind of look like this. They look like the rings. They look a lot like the rings. The same runes that are on these rings. I mean, when you put them in gold, side by side, they look a lot alike. These, it's just golden runes around his neck. Golden runes around the prison. This world is a prison. Azeroth is imprisoned. This is definitely like Titan related. That's what I mean. It looks one to one. Literally looks like the same shit. So this whole theory that he's related to the Titans in some way, I think it holds water
He
for
even
sure.
has the chains. They're hidden under his cape.
Confirmed,
If
yeah.
you look at his model from the side, he has tons of them hidden away. He's the fucking jailer.
Why would he be
Zovaal
hiding
was
the chains under his robe? Yeah,
just his puppet.
he's hiding shit. Return to the jailer soon.
Someone who could show him the infinite time ways could also be someone from the Infinite Dragon Fighter Bronze. I think that's very unlikely. I think it's highly leaning into Amun Thul. Check this out, chat. Yeah, yep. Lean into this. It's the silhouette.
Yeah,
Shinzai
I
links another
I
picture.
showed this
You mean
already.
that's how they were going to do it originally? He looks uncannily similar. Even his hands and shit, his body language, the tall things on his shoulder. Shinzai says the shoulder pieces were just repurposed for the death elementals.
Yeah. Primus evil
I
confirmed.
said, wow, the Primus. If the Primus was the real jailer, though, how come Zovaal had him chained up as the rune carver? Or was that him turning his power against him, trying to escape?
It's all-
Shinzai
it's all
answers with
fake
a
shit.
brilliant answer. The greatest trick the devil ever played was making us believe he doesn't exist. In
Yeah.
the cutscene, you only ever see the Primus's shadow looking down upon Zovaal. The bent-over appearance of the Primus looks like as the rune carver is an act.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said the question
Fake.
would be,
He's
why?
acting.
He looks way too similar. Makes sense because when the jailer dies, he literally becomes a puppet. Yeah, I mean it's memey, but it's like so on the nose.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have stopped to realize that it was the jailer that was being controlled. It's fucking crazy.
Like I said,
Shinzai says the back of the Shadowlands collectors.
he's the least likely. You know, he's the imprisoned one. How the hell is he the one pulling all the strings? Because they're attached to him by his chains.
Edition box is the Primus insignia breaking out of the maw into reality.
What the shit?
This is one of the biggest clues. I have this collector's edition and I didn't notice this.
What the shit?
That the symbol of not the jailer, but of the Primus is like coming out of the fucking maw.
It's on the back of the box.
Out of the Shadowlands. Because that's exactly what he's doing. I said, I guess I still don't understand. Why did he do it? Shinzai said it's the untold story. He was the one trying to take Azeroth's power.
I guess
not
we'll figure.
Zovaal.
We're supposed to figure out
He
the why
used
later
Zovaal
on.
to test what would happen if he tried.
Yeah.
I was like, that is fucking Giga Brain. So he comes out to be the good guy. Holy fuck. And he created a new crown of domination that we accepted. And
True.
it's light-based.
Damn.
I said, oh my fucking god. The dead Zovaal looks like a
Give the
puppet.
guy a break. I'm being an Oregon fan. They lost twice to Washington. I mean, I don't even know how he's surviving this at this point.
But with his strings cut, Primus, the tactician, not dead Zovaal. He looks like MC'd Anduin with his blue
It
eyes.
is cool. This is way
What the
better
fuck?
lore.
Shin, what the fuck? We freed him by killing him. We set Zovaal free from the guy who was actually doing the jailing. The Primus played everyone. I said, you have me sold on this. I can't believe it. When you go back through Shadowlands from this perspective, everything falls into place.
Makes sense,
The Primus
yeah.
in Shadowlands shows us about 4 different forms. I don't think so. It was fucking weird for us to bring the Primus's runes back to him within his prison where Zovaal was. Because from within his prison, he was puppeteering Zovaal.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
secret of the Shadowlands is that it wasn't the jailer. It was the fucking Primus, and his plan went just like it should have. Now, the Arbiter, who used to be Zovaal, who was framed by the Primus, has been replaced by an entity that the Primus can control. Yo, that is fucked.
That is.
And assuming that he learned, like it said, learning these tactics from someone in the time ways, who do you think he learned how to do this from? He's running a simulation. It's very similar to another group of individuals that we know. He's running a test. Just like the Emerald Dream. They're just simulations to figure out what the right path is. They're all just scrying fate. But they're doing it different ways. He ran a simulation. But now he's safe to do whatever he wants. We left the Shadowlands to him. Yes, as he's been trained to do. I said, oh my...
We were probably also making him more powerful. We were probably also making him more powerful as we went. What did we used to bring? We used to bring him soul ash to create legendaries, right? What is soul ash? A raw source of power found within Torghast. Used to fuel the rune carver's chamber. So, I mean, it's a raw source of power. So we were constantly bringing him this soul ash, this raw source of power. What else were we bringing him? It was cosmic flux, right? What is cosmic flux? Let's see, it's a currency. What is cosmic flux? Here it is. Swirling fragments of creation energy that enable transformation. Cosmic flux can be used to empower equipment. Cosmic flux. Swirling fragments of creation energy. Also sounds like something pretty powerful. That we were constantly bringing him. Now that if you see him as the bad guy, we were literally just supplying him with these powerful items over and over and over so he could create weapons for us and stuff. But in the end, we were just making him more powerful. Cosmic flux can be used to empower equipment from the creation catalyst and Zereth Mortis and fuel the rune carver's chamber within Torghast. Interesting. We're going out and just bringing this powerful shit to him. Tons of it. The entire expansion.
My God.
Plus, we were buying WoW tokens, so we were empowering Bobby Kotick as well.
It illustrates the premise of taking Azeroth's power. I get it. Holy shit. The Primus...
I keep thinking we're going to meet the Arathi humans. They're going to see our light users and be like, what power is that? Because that's not light. Holy shit, Bernardino. Dude, what? What? We just talked about the Arathi people today. We literally just talked about them today and how their ships are powered and everything. Let's see, the Arathi... the Arathi that we'll meet are utterly devoted to the light, and in fact, their airships are run on the sacred flame. Their light magic certainly is different from ours, isn't it? Holy crap. Burnt, what the hell? What if you're right? What if the Arathi people are using like the true form of the light, like this flaming form of light, and the form of light that we use is like, they're like, what is that? What the hell is that? That's not light. What are you using there? Fiery light is the true form of light. What is a fire? What is a fire normally seen as? Is a fire typically, when you look at a fire, is it something you see as something that's controlled? Don't you, when you think of a fire, think of something that's hard to control, out of control? What if fiery light is how light is intended to be, but the Titans don't like that shit because you can't control fire that well. It's not a very controllable thing. Fire is out of control. It's a lack of control. What if the type of light we use is like a Titan form of light? Holy shit. Oh my god. Burnt. What the hell? Fire is chaos and free. Yes. And they keep talking about the light that these Arathis use as a flame. A sacred flame. Dude, we may have just broken the fucking third wall, fourth wall right now. What the hell? I totally think that could be it. These Arathis are going to be the way we tied back into the Shadowlands lore or light lore in general.
Is an Aman'Thul experiment. He used him.
We're digging deep,
to test it himself.
We might be hitting gold.
Aman'Thul, through the time ways, contacted the Primus, and then the Primus, essentially on behalf of the Titans, runs a simulation to see what it would be like if they tried to take Azeroth's power. This can confirm that is indeed what the Titans were trying to do, if it is true.
Pyromancer
slowly figuring out how they're going to do it themselves. He's tricking us right now. And how do we know that the Titans are probably aware of everything that happened? A constellar, Rygelon, arrives to survey the situation. The Titans know. The Shadowlands was ordered, the Primus set up a puppet to act on his behalf, and the experiment was a success.
Jesus.
And like I
It's all
said, I believe
connected.
this is why Sargeras did cleave a planet. He cleaved the original Shadowlands, which I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea of, frankly, considering that we know that they were, to some degree, remade, and that Argus went back to them when he died. Why? Because that's where he was before. Duh.
Yeah, Bernardino, run. You just exposed their
Wasn't he
their lore.
supposed to serve as the new Arbiter? Interesting. And like I've said, so it says, Oribos is the world pillar of the Shadowlands that tethers the many planes to it, installed by the Titans, as they do. And they turn it into a prison dimension. The only exception being A&R establishing Life's Out via Ardenweald is the one zone that does not fit the Titans' designs and plans as usual.
Ardenweald,
Cosmos
Emerald
divided,
Dream,
so
all
all
that
of the other
shit
forces
connected.
probably are going to have to like step up and like fight together to defeat Order. Otherwise, Order is going to fucking... What is to come? The Titans.
Great time, yes.
The Titans
About
are
to.
coming. And they're coming back with a fucking vengeance. It's not going to be good for us at all.
It's a Ridicron's plan. He wants them to come.
Listen to this. Think about this. The Titans
All
use
over him.
Domination. They use Order magic in the same exact way. Now that we know about Domination, they have no reason to hide it. They know that we know. The untold story of Shadowlands. That it truly, in fact, was the Primus.
What the hell? Look at this shit. Is this really a card, Shackles of the Primus? He's literally controlling the jailer right here.
That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. What a damn shame they couldn't fucking get people to see that.
Imagine this was the story they delivered. This would have been so much cooler. If it is, in fact, the story and they end up revealing it to us, it could retroactively, I don't know about save Shadowlands, but it could make Shadowlands lore, you know, digestible. I still think what they did to Arthas and the Lich King lore is bullshit, but this lore certainly is better than what we got and certainly makes a lot more sense and is, you know, it's much better. It's much more Gigabrain. I like it. Yeah, interesting. Interesting stuff. That last card he showed there, I mean, what the hell? How is this something that no one's ever noticed? He's literally right there. He's literally right there. Crazy.